I'll upload later. Okay. This is part 3 of a story from the previous 2 parts. And I'm saving this for posterity.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, it's going to be up there and I'm going to have to like bookmark it. So anyways, like he's playing a dwarven troll slayer and they're just like, you know, your berserk dishonored dwarf who just like seeks death in glorious battle. Um, you know, and they have like all sorts of fun things. Like they're immune to the effects of like fear and terror rules. Um, but you know they get all the they don't suffer it, but they're still like statistically affected by it. Um, you know, within terms of like mental disabilities and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, they get credit for failing the test. They're unaffected by it, but you know, it matters down the road. But of course, we have you know, some house rules in place. Um, and for background, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay used percentage. So we had house rules of, you know, natural ones, natural 100s. And on his fear and terror test, his dwarf rolled 100. Um, so, um, oh, fuck! Oh,
Did you die?
no. I broke my efficiency 5 looting pickaxe. Because I forgot to switch it out like 2 sleeps ago. Oh! Well. Oh, that's so... And I did it off stream too. Okay. Well, now I know how one of my streamers does it. That I follow. Just got You just gotta pay attention in the future. It didn't cost me any books. It just like is all stuff I found. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah! Okay. So, anyways, back to the story. um, so he had failed his terror test against his dragon. He had also failed his intelligence test to see if whether it was not an illusion. It was an illusion. So he was in full suffering effects because of his natural 100. And basically, well, it had some consequences for him because he thought right before he failed the test that the dragon was going to eat him. Fortunately, an elf wizard saved his ass. And I did not let his character forget that forever. So that was basically the basis of the campaign while we're adventuring him is when he was around and thought about stepping out of line, I would just say, you know, hey, don't forget about who saved you from the dragon. But eventually, my friend just got way too unbearable with his character. So, our GM created an event, and we like separated from him. Coincidentally timed with like when he moved away. You know, so we were like, and there was much rejoicing. So then it was just, you know, my brother, my friend, or my brother's friend, also my friend, and me you know, we just kind of carried on throughout this, like, you know, to the point where I don't know, like we ended up like fleeing from. We got stuck in this dwarven citadel, like at the time of the planned separation, which, you know, we didn't want to be around dwarves because, you know, my friend was making it so unbearable. Um, so that like kind of happened, and like it just so happened to work. I was just like, okay, you can stay here, um, but like, you know, since you know, since Chris is going to be going away, this is going to be the separation event. So I'm just telling you, you probably don't want to be around when the, you know, proverbial shit hits the fan. So we smartly decide to leave, and basically retreated to a region, and like eventually the end goal was I don't know what I don't know really what our like not fully fleshed out plan was, but it was kind of like along the lines of just like set up a guild there, like an adventurers guild, and kind of essentially run the place. um, and like I also know for a fact at some point we quit. So I know we quit in '94 because my brother went into the military, and then I don't know, why did we quit for so long? I don't even. I think they started up without me. I don't even remember why. I don't know. I remember when we like rejoined up. That's like kind of when we started to like, you know, not necessarily plan to take over the region, but work with the region to say like, this is what we plan to do. Um, we're not looking for total and full control. We would, you know, just like to work with you and, you know, be allies and, you know, carve out something for ourselves. Um, and I think like immediately, like right after that, um, the DM through a bunch of contrived events got my character killed, which was great. You know, it's one of those like text box set point battles that he had created in the campaign. Um, the problem was the reason why my character died is I just basically like at this point stopped being like an arrogant jerk elf, um, and started like secretly or not secret. Well, I mean, I kind of maintained my image of somewhat arrogant elf, but was like full on being like overprotective of my party. You know, my adventuring party. Um, so in this battle, the GM had forgotten where an item was, which was like too far away, which contained like basically the equalizer for the battle, and I ended up like getting well. I basically covered my party's escape, and got killed in the process. Um, so we had to let's see, we were on vacation um, while doing this, just the four of us. So after that had happened, and after all that died down, well, first after I get up, I'm like, I am fine with. I just said when I died, I was just like, I'm fine with what happened. So I'm just going to step away though, because I'm upset. This is a character I put at that point. Well, you know, it's been 10 years, 10, 12 years into. and I'm gonna go play video games. And then that night, uh, the GM and I, we just spent like 4 hours. Like he said, I just realized something that I left the equalizer behind, so we need to figure out what to do here. Um, and we ended up like just basically, we basically did the most convoluted thing that we could, because the party was cool. Um, which is basically my dead elf spirit, because we had, we had some stuff lying around. We basically made the convoluted scenario where, you know, we had a way of, because of like what we had in possession, um, we could bring my wizard back to life, and we sort of did that in just like one of the most like convoluted ways possible. But it was also in a way is just like based on the time of my character is just like semi-humane, if I want to call that. Um, like I ended up basically taking control over like basically a 15-year-old elf child and having to do that, and we spent that whole night just like fleshing out the backstory. So I like, of course, in character, I said like, you know what? I'm not going to tell my party it's me though. I'm just going to say that, you know, my wizard character, I'm their child, and did that whole shtick. Um, and God, how did I get found out? Um, oh yeah, my friend's brother, he had switched characters. Um, because his original got killed, unquote, for story purposes. That actually branched out into like uh, a single player campaign. So he was playing a lizard man, like a lizard, basically a lizard shaman. And he's the one that found me out. Um, so we sort of like had to make a really good deal, which was kind of like fine for the both of us. You know, mutual deal. I basically just said like, don't tell anyone. I'll tell everyone when I'm ready. Um, which he had to constantly just like keep badgering me and badgering me and badgering me. Um, so then I just like, you know, we are going to do the you know what all good heroes do, and you know, go fight our end boss. Um, so I just decided to tell them, you know, the night before. It's like, hey, I need to come clean. Which that took a long time in game, because I mean, obviously, like, you know, out of character we knew, um, you know, because we kind of like had to sort of set the stage, but like, you know, in character that took the rest of the night, because you know, God damn it, I knew this hole was here. Ow. Ah, stupid creepers. Um, so yeah, I just came clean and said like, yeah, it's me, and you know, I understand if everyone's going to be mad, but um, I mean, well, I did sort of lie to everyone and saying like I don't really know how this happened, even though I know exactly how it happened. Um, and I made my brother's character or my friend's brother's character like promise not to tell because like it involved I didn't have a hand in it. It was just you know necromancy and necromancy magic. I did not know any of it. It was just some items that we had on us that we actually hadn't had the time to turn over to the proper authorities. So it's just like I don't even want wind of this getting out. So yeah, and then it was basically like the end of it was we succeeded in our mission of killing the big baddie. Um, then I kind of settled up with my elven gods. Got to say goodbye to my party and friends, and passed on basically. Um, yeah, and that was like once I got over, which I knew it was gonna happen. Like my friend, accidentally unquote killing me. Um, because I was like, again, I was like, I'm gonna have to accept it. I just don't know how I'm gonna re-roll a new character. This late into our campaign, which I think it took another 5 years to complete. Um, but yeah, that was probably actually my favorite characters, mostly because start to finish had that big bump, and obviously the character I used the most. The other favorite character of mine was, I mean, because that's the only campaign I've ever finished. Uh, was a human noble uh, set in the Dragon Age world. So using that system because they came out with a pen and paper for that, um, and that was pretty cool because that was the Magic the Gathering circle of friends, and our GM was fucking awesome. Like he knew how to create worlds. Um, but I unfortunately I don't think we're ever going to finish that, which is disappointing. Cause well, I know that one of the players in it has moved away to New York, and I don't know how we're going to do that, even though we could now technically do it online. And the one of the other players is in San Francisco for 6 months. So, but yeah, I think arguably like yeah, the elf is probably my favorite. So that's a long-winded 30-minute story, I think.
So you got your character killed and you tried to resurrect it again, but then you were like,
We
you're
we did one again. We did like the most basically it's like life and it. The spell I think is life and death. It's just basically a possession spell. Um, I guess it's like similar but not similar to like becoming a lich in a way. But it's just like it's basically you need a host body. It's basically possession. So you need like a host body. And we picked a uh, relevant to the campaign a young elf child um, that was kidnapped by goblins. Um, and boy, were the goblins surprised when the 15-year-old elf child fought back. probably one of the easiest battles I ever had. When you're a essentially top of the line wizard. But yeah, yeah. I definitely say the elf convoluted everything about it. Just you know, again, like having my friend help me with that, like when he's focused, you know he's a really good GM. It's a shame we're like so far apart and like wow. There was a fault with my brother, so like I don't know if we're gonna. We actually started the second saga for the campaign with new characters and everything, um, and unfortunately we're never gonna finish it. But that's the way how some of those things go. I miss that campaign. Where'd you go, Mr. Enderman? Did you run away?
Have you like more recently? Have you like tried searching for a different group, or like you like tried like seeing if they're willing or wanting to try to restart it up or something, or even something new?
Um, I don't know. Like, the sad part is like, uh, my friend and I really haven't communicated like in 2 years, essentially, like year and a half maybe. Right? I was 18, right? So yeah, like, um, there. I guess for whatever reason, my brother's schedule um, lines up more with theirs. So like we really haven't done much since like 2018. And I'm like this year I went to my friend's birthday dinner, which was fine, but like I don't know a lot of people there, so it's like kind of and I'm like socially inept, um, or an introvert or whatever. So it's just like it's in a way it's just like well like we're not really doing anything, so it's like you know I don't even want to bug to like attempt to start up this campaign that we are doing. Um, and I've just like told him like I'm not gonna try and concern you with like what's happened between my brother and I. It's like between the two of us, and you know, part of it was my own fault, but part of it was his. Um, but yeah, I haven't like talked. I have other than basically apologizing to my brother to basically get him to stop acting like a complete and fucking utter ass. Um, about something that was just basically between us. That he last year decided to drag the whole family into. When I just told everyone I'll take care of it. And I told him as such is if you want to hear this, that's fine. Um, but because of what you did, like if you can't accept this apology, that's fine. And the next time you'll probably hear from me is when I contact you about selling the house, which his name is still on, which is that isn't like the problem between us, but it is a point of contention for I don't know the last 12 years. Um, but yeah, so it's like the shame in all this is that I don't know, like I don't see my friend as like often as I can, like even before COVID. And like, he also has like work and stuff, so it's like I don't even expect it, I didn't even expect him to see him like, more than once a month, which was fine. But now that just doesn't happen anymore. It's just like, well, so like even, you know, that's like why like when I found out like all my Magic friends were playing RPGs, like, well, you know, I used to do that a long time ago. If you have room for an idiot, you know, keep me in mind when you start up your next campaign. But unfortunately, outside of that, I just like now I don't do any of that, and like now, Rocket League and crummy streaming take up my time, which is like fine, but I do miss it.
If I could ever find like the people, like even if it was just like in the groups that I'm currently in, like find like a handful of people that would be wanting to do something like that. I mean, being a DM is weird and hard, but anybody could do it.
Yeah,
For some reason, whenever I first started thinking about trying to do it, it just seemed like something that was just really hard that it just took a certain kind of person to be able to do. And really, it wasn't. It was just like I had to be creative and like definitive in what I wanted like things to be. Like I couldn't be like, oh, well, it's like this way, but in this way we'll be more lenient here, and we'll be like this here. It's just
uh,
like you just kind of react to the way the situation's playing out.
yeah, and I think like kind of what I, I want to say I think I've learned. Just kind of like what I've observed. Part of being a DM is actually just getting in the reps and like like much in the way I like say like like DM needs to try and make it fun for the players. Like players when when they have like a first time DM, like they just can't be like unbearably ruthless to the DM because then the DM's like, well, like I'm trying to learn, trying to figure this out, and um, you know if this is going to happen, it's like, why bother? So and then of course that doesn't even include like again like the work and setup, you know, which some people can do and some people can't. So you know my I guess whatever my 2 cents, my 2 bits. I think like why I can't be a I discovered why I can't be a DM is at least right now is put I kind of put the adventure too much on rails when I create them. So I don't even give players the freedom. Or at least that's what I learned the couple times I did it, and it's just like, okay, I won't DM anymore because you know, we got my friend, and now it's 2020, and I probably haven't played in, well, I know I haven't played that since 15, 16, probably 15. When did that go down? Went down 2016, so probably the summer of 2016. But you know, and then with my Magic group, we probably haven't gotten together, and it's been 2 years, I think. Yeah, but again, it is what it is for me. I'd love to get back into it, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to carve out the time suddenly.
I'm invested. Like it's understandable. Like stuff happens, you know. Like
Yeah.
anything can happen. But it still just kind of like sucks because that. I mean, I've never had a campaign that lasted more than a couple of months. But I mean, you said that was going on for like 15 years.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, like we reached the end of that one after 15 years, and then we basically just started up, like, you know, campaign 2, Electric Boogaloo. Like, we, I'm not kidding, like, we picked it up like 15, 20 years after or something like that. So, like, yeah, like, we just kind of provided input on, like, what, well, I mean, obviously my input was pretty easy because, you know, my character obviously moved on. Um, we just kind of like basically provided that and like also a little bit of like, I want to say like guidance, um, even in the middle of the campaign as to like um, what the original characters would do, because they're like still around, um, and that sort of thing. So like it's the campaign itself is very, very interesting in that regard because it's like we still like in a way can like, and we actually have at various points of like, kind of brought some of the old characters like, out of retirement basically. Um, so yeah, like that part, like that part on, campaign 2 was always interesting because like, it's kind of like theoretically this is what we did, and now we're gonna go in here and see like how the new generation is gonna like uh, influence it. But yeah, it kind of sucks is that like I'm pretty sure I'm never going back to that one. And the other ones, it's like kind of the same thing. It's like, man, I wish we could get back to these, but I don't think we are. Oh well. He says, waxing nostalgic. Hmm.
Ouch.
I think my furry friend is telling me something. Aside from taking a break, how long have I been at this? Probably 3 hours.
Yeah. Let's see. Nope, 2 hours.
So, and I'm gonna post a video that's in 3 different chunks because I'm gonna be too lazy to splice it together because it's just a lot easier to upload that way. Okay, let me. Let me be sad. I got a problem here. Okay, so I'm gonna have to put this on hold because I need to make up for my stupidity. And this one's like gonna actually require work because I need to recreate my pickaxe. So I'm gonna have to go adventuring. Alright. adventuring and crafting. So let's set this up for next time. Okay. Alright, so... Okay, so let's put all my tools I will never need here. Okay, I will probably need that because I'm going to do this in the most stupid place possible, the nether. Because I got nether quartz to mine. That'll be a good source of experience. Okay. So I don't need these kind of signs. I don't need ladders. I will need these kind of signs. I will need an iron pickaxe. I no longer... There's my iron pickaxe. So I need that. Torches. Okay. So that's what? So I need 24 sticks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2.
Oh my gosh, why can't you people do it later?
Perfect.
It's starting to look like the only thing that I can join would be like a play-by-post. And I don't even understand how those work.
So posting the text, huh? Basically.
Yeah, but like, how much time do you allot to each character to reply?
That I don't actually know. That's
Yeah,
a very
like let's say your job.
that's a very good question.
Yeah, like let's say your job takes you all the way to the middle of nowhere. You have no phone service, but you're in the middle of a campaign. You're gone for like 3 days. Do we wait those 3 days for you to reply to say what you do, so nobody does anything for 3 solid days? Or do we skip over what your character's doing and have him or them do some like auto task that would make sense for your character to do, to where you can either earn money or experience?
Yeah.
But then what if you come back in the middle of the auto task and now you're in a random spot that you weren't at before and you might be mad? I mean, you could be okay with it, but now you're in a random spot and now you have to get back. So like, so many things could happen that we can't force your character to do anything other than wait. So, kind of sucks. That you don't really have like the intimacy of playing with the other people, you know? Like you just have these people like checking the browser, oh, da 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 da, done.
Yeah.
Like a conversation could take like 3 hours.
Yeah. It's almost like we're just gonna do this over voice chat. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, like let's say I come to your house or whatever. If we're doing this by a play-by-post and I'm just looking to go to the bathroom, it's gonna take like 3 solid hours just for me to get from the front door to the bathroom. And all I did was ask where it's at, you know? Like ask if I can come in and ask where it's at. But I have to wait for you to reply that entire time.
Yeah.
And then if there's like other character interactions, like ours gets lost somewhere. So like the play-by-post, like I'm sure they're thought out really well. It's just I overthink and it doesn't seem like it's simple.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it could actually be, you know, low from column A, low from column B.
Yeah, I mean like I can't get on the computer and sit in a chat like this and talk all day.
Well,
Like
yeah.
my wife is off today, so like that's fine, you know, like she's taking care of the baby and the kids. But on other days, I can't do that. But on a play by post, I can definitely open my phone and be on my phone all day and still take care of my son. I try to put it down, feed him, give him a bottle, change his diaper, and then let him play. Four things. That's not gonna kill me. And in between each of those, if he's playing, I have almost all day to myself. It's only whenever he's eating, drinking, or pooping himself that I have to pay attention to him, really. Like, yeah, make sure that he's not getting into anything, but it's pretty safe. Like, at least in my room. So I'd be able to keep up with the play-by-post. I know that. It's just, they seem strange. That, and you can't really, like, determine how somebody's, like, talking to you through a text, other than by emojis or very, like, cautious, or, like, consciously expressing your intent of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I could message you, hey, what's up? And I could be pissed off with you, and you would not know it. Or like, what are you doing? And you think I'm yelling, and it's not. I'm just like, oh, what are you doing? I'm curious. So it's like text posts are just really hard because they like a fight. I'm gonna join a play by post. I'm gonna see how fast I can get kicked out. I'm gonna fight with everybody. I'm like, what does that mean? And just start fighting with them. No, I'm not. That'd be toxic as hell.
Oh, I can't do that. Ah.
uh, mm.
Okay. I need to put these away. Okay.
Where are people looking for these prices for their Rocket League items?
Uh, like RL Insider, I know is one place.
You said Insider?
RLinsider.com.
Let's see. RL Insider.
I should make a bed for down
Hey,
here. I might do that.
I didn't even know this site existed. I'm dumb.
Well, I mean, like,
Oh,
to be fair, if you've never, like, sought it out or whatever, then it's kind of like, how do you know? If you've never traded, like, or even looked up the value of items, like, how are you supposed to know? Can't fault you for
I've
that.
I've tried looking up the price of things. It's just really hard because I tried looking up like the blueprint costs too, and I can't even find those like anywhere. Nobody has blueprint costs.
That's odd. Like, yeah, our own cider should. Most of them are surprisingly going to be like zero, but yeah, they should, he says.
Okay, so the blueprint cost is 0 to 100.
So that's like the low and the high of like what it's been. What is this for?
I just don't understand like how the prices work in the market. They're so messed up.
Um,
You pay like 6 times the amount, potentially like a number X amount times the amount, whatever, of what it costs to actually sell it, to unlock it in the first place.
yeah, well, okay, so part of the problem is that like it's basically the credit market. So there's there's basically the second in the secondary market it's basically what credits are trading for. Like credits can go from, you know, $1 for 100 credits, or they can sometimes they trade as low as 50 cents per credit. So like that is like the biggest influence on stuff. Um, so like, you know, that basically causes items to go below their blueprint cost. Because if you craft something with cheap credits, like yeah, like let's just take a 500 credit item, but it's selling for like 250 or whatever. But like if I take 500 credits, but I got them for at a cheap cost or whatever, then you know technically I could have opened the blueprint at like 300. So like the market kind of like the secondary market kind of like adjusts to it. It's like fucking complicated. Basically,
Yeah,
the
but
only time you can really sell something like for above its crafting cost is like when something comes out and it's desired, like Titanium White Interstellar Day One, which I had a blueprint for. It cost 10,000 or 8,000 for the blueprint. Because people were knocking off. Well, it's 10,500 because it's 2,500 to craft Titanium White Interstellar. So I sold it for basically 8,000 day one when I got it. So I just basically got the lobby, or I won the lottery.
I just wanted titanium white shattered.
Okay,
But
so I would just say go hold on, dog. Let no, I see you. I love you. I love you a lot.
but